We're going home.
Where we're going, we don't need roads.
Here we go with the stay-at-home episode of Roadkill, or in this case, the stay-in-the-garage episode of Roadkill. The quarantine is going on, coronavirus is rampant, and I know I'm actually quarantining really hardcore. And so we weren't able to hit the road and shoot a normal episode of Roadkill. That is going to come back next time. We did that road trip with the D100. You're going to see that episode. And then after that, we have another plan for some wrenching episodes in our garages. But hopefully, we're back to normal. But this time, we're here in our personal garages. And I was looking here at the backgrounds of our video conferencing. And you can see the difference in our personalities. Mine is a disaster, and it's all about engine parts. And Finnegan's is all neat and tidy, and it's all about fabrication.
Yeah, but you have that great mood lighting that really highlights your facial features. And I can't help but notice the Hemi tunnel ram directly behind your head that you've never said, hey, let's put this on blasphemy.
That's what that is right there. How could that possibly run better than a blower? It won't. All right, so let's roll right into it. This is going to be our opinion of the top 10 greatest fan-favorite roadkill cars of all time, with some great clips and commentary. And let's roll right into it with number 10, which is the car that's been in the fleet the longest of the ones that are on this list. And it's also been in more Motor Trend episodes than any other car. It is the 1967 Chevy Camaro that we call the Crusher. First on the countdown is the Crusher Camaro. A 1967 model that's been around since 1994 when I bought it for $700 from a guy that was dropping it off at the junkyard to get it crushed. Hence the name, the Crusher Camaro. This car has been in 3 episodes of Roadkill, 4 episodes of Roadkill Garage, 3 of Hot Rod Garage, and it's also been in 2 shows you may not even know about here on Motor Trend, Hot Rod Unlimited and Hot Rod TV. And it was in one of the pre-Roadkill episodes that Finnegan and I did together. As far as Roadkill history goes, the first appearance was in episode 19 when we road tripped it with my Super Bee to the drag strip in Salt Lake City. It had a blown big block in it back then and did some of the best burnouts ever. But the Crusher Camaro has a history of changing its looks all the time. So, in episode 24, we removed the big block and installed a 700 horsepower LS7 in a live video feed from the floor of a trade show. Next, we drove it all the way from Indy to California. And later, Finnegan ran 10:07 in the quarter mile at Sacramento Raceway with that LS7 power plant. After the LS7, Tony and Lucky installed an LS3 and ended up hurting it at the drag strip. And so Steve Dulcich and I removed that LS3 in episodes of Roadkill Garage. Then we built a tunnel ram 400 cubic inch small block that was on fire. We gave it a retro rake and a hood scoop inspired by Pro Stock cars of the early 70s. We took it to the drag strip a couple of times, and after one of only 2 episodes that we fully shot at my house before today, it finally ran 1070 at 122 miles an hour. Yeah! Man, that car is great. Okay, I'm going to make a very bold statement. Considering that I still own my first car, the Super Bee, I'm going to say that the Crusher Camaro is my personal favorite car of anything that I own.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought for sure you would go Crusher Impala because you seem to enjoy that way more times of the year. you know?
No, that car is a riot. The thing about the Crusher is that it's really simple. It's been fast. It's worked well with every combination I've thrown at it. I get to change it all the time, and it's just beat up enough that I don't mind doing stuff with it, but it's also fairly presentable. So, no, I love that thing. It's great. So let's go into some favorite clips. What's your best memory of the Crusher Camaro?
The clip I'm about to show you is me spinning it out at a medium pace across a parking lot with KJ Jones in the passenger seat.
3, 2, 1, go. Yeah, you were thrashing on the Crusher pretty hard there. I think the best thing about it was KJ's terror.
Yeah, wrong tires, wrong surface. If you look close, I ran over dirt in that parking lot, and that's what sent it spinning. But the thing I didn't notice earlier, and it's been years since I've seen that episode, is how many cool cars were in it. I mean, that was a good time.
Okay, let's go into my favorite clip of this car. And it was hard to choose because this thing has had so many different looks, and I know that the fans love the blower on it. But really, the greatest moment that is on film with that car, to me, is in an episode of Roadkill Garage most recently. I think it was episode 49. The key was the wheelies. Not blasphemy level wheelies, but pretty good wheelies. Check it out.
Dude, you're leaning heavily on the slow-mo to make that video look impressive, I gotta say.
Okay, I remember how excited you were the first time Blasphemy got this much air and that junk didn't even go down the track for 2 years, so I don't want to hear it.
This is true, and here's the thing is, while I don't think the wheelie is amazing, because it's not, the car itself is awesome.
I appreciate it. I really like it. My biggest conundrum with the thing is I know that the fans love it with the blown big block in it, but I want to make the small block even faster. I guess what's coming up for that car is potential panel paint 60s style, maybe a stronger small block, and eventually back to the blown big block. All right, so there's a wrap up on the Crusher Camaro. Now let's go into the next Crusher. It's number 9 on the list.
Coming in at number 9 is the Crusher Impala. This 1969 Chevy is one of Freiberger's favorite roadkill project cars of all time, and who can deny the awesomeness of doing block-long burnouts in a giant boat of a car with 700 horsepower under the hood. It gets even better because blasting through that massive steel hood is the heart of the Crusher Camaro, a 489 cubic inch big block Chevy with an 871 supercharger.
Yeah. Oh, look at the motivation.
How's that?
You're going to go there already. That is so ridiculous.
Freiberger and I created this beast in episode 60 because we wanted to treat our Australian friends Marty and Moog from Mighty Car Mods to the ultimate American car experience. V8 power and a long wheelbase rear-wheel drive application. We've done everything with this Crusher. We've autocrossed it. We've done burnouts for distance. It does donuts for days. Hell, we've even raced it around a rally track and it just keeps on overheating and coming back for more. So here's the thing about this car, Dave. I love the torque. I love the gearing. I love the wheel speeds. I love the 911 style phone call burnouts. I just can't get around the body style, except for those brief moments when it's making tire smoke. I pretty much don't like the car.
Well, one of the things I like about it the most is that you hate it the most. As a matter of fact, we have a clip of you stating out loud, I hate this car.
I hate the Impala. I don't want to drive the Impala. It's a death trap. I don't recall saying that, but it's not untrue.
We rank this list as far as what I believe is a fan favorite. People love it, even though you hate the thing.
For whatever reason, the big body 4-door, it does nothing for me. So the only saving grace on that car is the blower, it is the gears, it is the torque, and it is the ridiculous burnouts.
Well, it is in fact a 2-door, which shows how much you've been paying attention. But let me see if I can actually...
See, it's so big, it looks like a 4-door.
Let me see if I can change your mind right here with two fantastic clips of the two things this car does the best. We're going to see sliding action at Dirtfish, which I would argue is almost superior to your action in the General Mayhem. And then we're going to see what it really does best, is massive burnouts. Nice!
There's no way that's better than General Mayhem at Dirtfish. And I'll argue, if you take the drivetrain out of that car and put it back where it belongs in the Crusher Camaro, that car gets thrown in the gutter.
All right, I'll let the fans decide. Okay, this is what we've been waiting for. I promised you like 100 yards, right?
100 yards?
Think I can live up to it?
Let's go. Holy cow! Whoa!
So, Mike, as much as you hate the car, you're still obligated to pick a favorite clip. What is it?
I'm going to remind you of a time in our lives when we hung out with the dudes from Mighty Car Mods, Marty and Moog, and you did something unthinkable.
See? Even you picked it. Some of the greatest moments ever. I had forgotten about the tire coming off the wheel, but I got to use that to say something to the fans, which is that people ask me all the time, oh man, have you put a posi in that thing? Yes, years ago, as I showed you in my clip. Have you put an alternator on it? Yes, years ago. Have you put a better blower on it where the strips aren't worn out? Yes, years ago. The car is all fixed. As a matter of fact, you're going to see it in an upcoming Roadkill Garage where we make it even better than ever. I'll be touching that thing with Dulcich instead of with you from now on.
The engine rules. The car,
I totally get it. Let's let the fans decide whether Finnegan wins on hating the car or I win on loving it. I'm going to win. All right, now we're going to move on to pick number 8. And number 8 is the NASCARlo. This is a circle track race car chassis topped with a 71 Chevy Monte Carlo body. We first built the car in episode 46, but we bought the circle track race car years before because it was cheap. It had a strong 350 engine and a clutchless 4-speed and a quick change rear end. But it sat around forever neglected before we finally decided to body swap it. We got a bare Monte Carlo body already stripped from my buddy Hector. The wheelbase of the race car was shorter than the Monte Carlo, so we had to shorten the body, and we couldn't make it look right until Brandon Gologly from Hot Rod suggested leaving the roof full size and just sliding it back on the quarter panels. It looked awesome. We road tripped this car on the highway, which was super sketchy, and we took it to a dirt track a couple of hours away.
good luck.
Yeah, no, I've never done anything even remotely like this before. And let's just say that was the start of a lot more helmet use on Roadkill. The NASCARlo appeared in 2 of our landmark Project Car Shootout episodes, the 50th and the 75th, which was really the 74th because Roadkill. For the 50th episode, we just autocrossed it. The bigger impact was in the 74th, where we returned to the fan-favorite Dirtfish Rally School, where the NASCARlo had the quickest time of all 8 cars that we had there.
159.54, yeah! Nice work.
Most recently, the NASCARlo was on the 5th episode of Faster with Finnegan, where Mike became the second Roadkill host to crash the car.
Sorry about that.
But Dave Newbern, Mike Cotton, and Finnegan fixed it up and made the NASCARlo better than ever.
I like basically the race car part of it, and the body was awesome until we crashed it.
The thing is, you've talked so much about wanting to rebody the thing, and I'm just not down with that, because then it won't be the NASCARlo. It'll forever be the car that used to be the NASCARlo.
Once it got backed into the wall, the back end of the car got crooked. And then once we took it to dirt fished and blew a tire, and the only tires we could get were too big, we had to hack the quarters. Like, the car's just kind of gone downhill from the doors back. Now that we've done it once, I know how to do it better. So the next time we get a 71 Monte Carlo body and do it, it will be dope. And I really think we should, because the front end of that car now is amazing.
Well, let's look at the actual moment where I destroyed this thing, because my favorite clip of this car is the first time I backed the thing into the wall at the dirt track. It's the only time I've ever put a car into the wall. Here goes. Well, that was not keeping it off the wall. Okay, for the record, the crash was not my fault. It actually broke a ball joint in the front end. So what's your favorite clip on the NASCARlo?
It's eerily similar to yours. On an episode of Faster with Finnegan, some ninja came out of nowhere, this tire, I don't know how, landed in the infield right in my path. It was crazy.
Wasn't your fault.
Let's watch.
Oh!
I might have broke the camera on that one.
I crashed a lot of cars last year, including that one.
But for the record, once again, actually your fault. However, I will say that track looked dry, man. You had no water on the clay at all. But I will give you this. The front end does look way better than it ever has.
And doesn't the front end just make you want to fix the back end, the top, the sides, all of it?
Nah.
No.
Not really.
All right, moving on to car number 7. Number 7 on our list is the legendary Vet Cart. This 1985 Chevrolet C4 Corvette represents the very first assignment given to me by Freiberger when we both worked at Hot Rod Magazine. The scheme was an extension of a previous Hot Rod Magazine story, which tested the effects of extreme weight loss on a car to drag strip. Our worn-out, small block-powered, stick-shift Corvette would go on a similar diet while running laps around a paved oval track. The end result was an ill-handling, man-sized open-air moon buggy that weighed 2,500 pounds. Since that fateful day of destruction at the Speedway, the C4 has morphed into the Vet Cart. We caged it and upgraded the suspension. Then, we replaced the motor. And now it's the Swiss Army knife of hot rods.
It's working!
We love it because we can do anything for cheap. This thing excels on-road and at the drag strip. And the Vet Cart is amazing at burnouts. It works off-road and in the sand. It even handles pretty well on a road course. And you can even drive it on 2 wheels, as long as you don't mind landing on your head.
Well, that was pretty good.
This truly is the ultimate driving machine. You just can't send it off any sweet jumps.
I got the radiator. Yeah, you got it that time.
I love the Vet Cart. I do. I like it with a roll cage. I like it without a roll cage because it kind of looks like a lunar rover. It's just good, cheap fun. The only thing I don't like about this car is the engine sucks.
I actually think that the Vet Cart is one of my greatest, inspired brain children. It's an actual good idea to take a C4 Corvette, cut the whole ugly part of it off, the whole body of the thing, and roll cage the thing and race it as long as you dial in the suspension. What's your favorite clip of the Vet Cart?
One of my bestest days at work ever was when you allowed me to. In fact, you may have begged. You asked for it. You said, lift the vet cart up on 2 wheels, Mike, with that forklift and flip it over with me inside. So I did. Watch this. This might not work.
You're right. Who knew it was so hard to flip over a vet cart?
That's better.
That's better. Should we see if it runs right there?
Yeah, give it a shot. Running.
Wow, this is pretty good. How do I look?
You look like you're about to fall over.
Okay.
You ready?
Sure. There we go. Ah! That hurt.
Holy crap. You all right?
Yeah, but it's spilling gas. Get me over. How about just get a bunch of guys and try and flip it? This would feel so much better if there weren't gas dripping. Aside from that, I'm pretty good.
Don't worry, it's race gas. It'll evaporate. Coming down.
Oh, that's the part that hurt. You could see our producer Taylor in that clip and Brandon Galogly from Hot Rod, who actually named Roadkill. I didn't catch whoever else was in there, but yeah, that was a pretty good moment. That was funny.
Good times, and nobody died.
I wanted to show people the glory of the vet cart, which was the very first time that we took it out and we raced it against the Lingenfelter Corvette. And at the end of the day, we just went out on that skid pad and did endless donuts. I thought that was pretty cool. So let's have a look at that. What's the status of the car now? I don't know after Faster with Finnegan. Is it completely maimed or is it still running?
It's totally fine. There's a hole in the oil pan and the entire front suspension is wadded up on it. That's all.
Oh, okay. So we're pretty good. I would bring the thing back. How about you?
Totally. There's so much potential with that car. And again, we still haven't spent a bunch of money on it. Like the rear suspension mods, those were $300 shocks off of a UTV. There's no money in that thing. We should keep fixing it.
Okay, next up, number 6 in the greatest roadkill cars. Number 6 is the Jaguar. A 1974 Jaguar XJ12 loaded with a small block Chevy and topped with a supercharger. It first appeared in episode 7, where we bought the car for $1,000 and it already had a Chevy 350 in it. All we did was slap on a Wyand blower in the parking lot of Gatelli's Speed Shop in South San Francisco. The Jaguar is born. This is where Finnegan famously said,
That's tea and crumpets covered in Jack Daniels right there.
The blown Jaguar became immediately famous for overheating. And of course, we cooled it down by going through drive-through car washes.
Oh, okay, windows leak. Oh, that totally worked. It barely wanted to start because it was so hot. And when I left the car wash, the needle was back in the middle of the gauge, fired right up.
In the end, I watered the entire track at Sacramento Raceway. The Jaguar also became the first car on Roadkill to have the hood taken off for cooling. Get some, yeah! The first major overhaul was on the very first Hot Rod garage, where we installed another blown crate motor that made 640 horsepower and ran 1251 at the drag strip with the suspension breaking off. Whoa! Oh God, that's scary. But we fixed that so that Randy Popes could road race the car in episode 41.
I can't see to the right, people. The last corner. Please, God, let it end.
Next, the Jaguar was in the Roadkill Takes America cross-country trip and ran 12-12 at 108 miles an hour at Tulsa, even though Finnegan said the transmission was slipping. But you watch, this is going to be the quickest the car has ever run. The Jaguar is one of our best burnout cars, and it won the distance contest in episode 50. We also joined Hot Rod Magazine's challenge for the world's largest collection of cars doing burnouts at the same time. And the Jaguar caught on fire, but just a little bit. It's also our very first self-driving car, as proven by Steve Dulcich. After all of that, we had never fixed the transmission, so we stabbed in a new GearStar unit after Roadkill Nights and had a hilarious road trip where the 383 engine gave up on us because of rust in the cylinders from bad storage.
How come we can never get it right? It's like we had a great engine and a slipping transmission. Now we have a great GearStar and a wrecked motor.
Even so, it raced exhibition at an NHRA national event in Minnesota. It went 1267 with the blower belt falling off, and we let Leah Pruitt beat us in the other lane in a brand new Hellcat.
Oh, right. He made it down the track.
I just went down a drag strip at an NHRA national event.
That was amazing! Now it needed a new engine again, which we installed in the parking lot of Summit Racing in Nevada, just like we'd done with Mike's El Camino years earlier. And when we were done, we didn't give it 10 feet of break-in before we did more amazing burnouts. On the road trip, we had a bunch of problems with the blower drive falling apart, and we fixed it in the middle of nowhere. Wow.
We can put it back together.
We can put it back together.
But it's not going to last.
No. There was also more drag racing, this time at Firebird in Idaho, and it went 12:52.
Go, baby!
12:52 and 108 miles an hour again. Still slower than that 12:12 run in Tulsa years earlier. The Jaguar just refuses to improve. It's as good as it gets. The thing to me about the Jaguar is it's like our sleeper hero car. I like it. It does great burnouts. It runs and drives like anywhere you want. It's comfortable. But the thing about it is we stupidly just ruin engines in it for absolutely no reason. And no matter how much we work on the thing, it never gets better, ever.
Yeah, but we ruin engines and everything. That's not the Jaguar's fault. That car is just a symbol of just awesomeness, you know, and excess. And it's a ridiculous motor sticking out of a car that it doesn't belong in, and it does ridiculous burnouts. And I have a love for it that will not die.
It does other things as well. Let's go into my favorite clip of this car, which actually has nothing to do with drag racing. It's Motor Trend's hero driver, Randy Pope's, taking the thing around, I think it was Horse Thief Mile at Willow Springs International Raceway. This is pretty good.
It's a combination of respect for the power that's been magically inserted into this old car and a combination of fear for my life.
Oh, yeah. I like that part.
Right about now, Randy's rethinking all of his life choices leading up to this very moment.
There it is. See the aluminum come off the wheel?
Yeah, it was machining itself. It was self-clearancing.
Whoa, brake pedal soft. Wow.
That's something. Thank you, Roadkill. Never again.
So there you go. That was like some different kind of roadkill action. That was my best moment with the thing. I just thought it was cool that we got him to drive it. How about you?
Yeah, that was great, but I'm going to one-up you right here with a burnout clip that ultimately stopped us from leaving when we really wanted to leave a place.
Yeah, so this is at Summit Racing after we installed the second Blueprint 383 in this thing after we ruined the first one.
I forgot how fun this is.
Yeah, we had to do this because remember, they repaved the parking lot after we did the engine swap in the El Camino, and you used to be able to see that mark we left from space, and you couldn't anymore, so we had to fix that.
Look at the marks this does, dude.
Wow. Oh, you cannot see it from satellite view. I was hoping that was a thing, but we'll have to become legends for other reasons. So, you know what? The last time I saw the Jaguar was the recent Roadkill zip tie drags, and you had told me that you had overheated the thing to death on Faster with Finnegan, but I think it ran okay. I think it's not hurt.
We overheated it bad. Like, the starter was falling out of the car, and one of the bolts in the block, I think, was stripped. And so we had to leave the Jaguar running for about 3 hours straight, idling.
You left it running for 3 hours? It must have been at like 320 degrees.
No, remember how big that radiator is? It doesn't overheat just sitting there. It still runs 12s, man. She good.
That's it. We are halfway through the countdown, so let's take a break now and talk about a couple of project cars that people ask me about on social all the time. Number one is probably the Maserati pickup, one of Finnegan's favorites.
Can we have a moment of silence? Okay, there.
Okay, that was good.
So Maserati, still stolen. It hasn't found itself, although because of that and social media, any Mazda RPU pickup on the planet is in my inbox. I loved the Maserati. I don't want to build another one because the honest to God truth is that truck sucked. I just like the idea of the Maserati. I don't want to build another one. I don't want another 455 volts and Bassett boat headers. It sucked. It didn't do anything good.
So then there's Pigpen, which is probably the vehicle that I have been most wrong about in my entire roadkill career, because we rescued that thing out of a junkyard where it had been sitting forever. We actually made it run and drive. We got it down the highway. The exhaust was pinched shut. We didn't know it. The engine was like destroying itself, and we abandoned the thing. So we got rid of it. And next thing you know, like 6 years later, people still ask me about it all the time. So the deal is we sold it to the guy who was our director, who's now our showrunner, Dustin Gould, and he's working on it with his father-in-law, and their plan is to completely re-chassis the thing. I had advised a complete Roadster Shop chassis, and remember we had that LS motor that was in the red van, and then it came out of the van and it went into the Dirt Everyday motorhome that they flopped onto its side? Well, that same engine is like now free out of the motorhome, and I suggested that we put that in the Pigpen. So I don't know what you will and won't see on Roadkill, but you can follow social media and get updates on Pigpen someday, ultimately coming back together in its radically more expensive version than you ever anticipated. But now we're going to go into the 5th spot on our list of the greatest Roadkill cars of all time.
Cracking number 5 on our list is the General Mayhem, the first edition. Fact, the 1968 Dodge Charger has the best taillight design of any 60s era muscle car. And when you combine those lights with the Coke bottle shape of the body, you get a car that looks amazing no matter how you restyle it. General Mayhem 1.0 makes this list for many reasons, and the original buildup is what helped it achieve legendary status. We bought a really crappy Walter White motorhome. And after having fun bombing around the neighborhood in it, we proceeded to gut the front half of the RV to score its low-mileage 440 engine and 727 trans. We spent a lot of nights and weekends crafting the perfect dirt bomber Dodge, and when we finished, we had the time of our lives in the desert and at Dirtfish Rally School. Eventually, the car once again went under the knife at Diversified Creations, where it was turned into a full-blown drag car, with big and little tires, a Dodge Hellcat drivetrain swap, and a roll cage. This thing's insane. Obviously, 1968 Dodge Charger, there isn't a planet on which this car is not cool. Best taillights ever, Coke bottle shape, it's awesome. And when you combine that with motorhome parts and steel wheels and part store tires and you go off-road, it's legendary. However, when you change a couple of those key ingredients, it's not as cool. It's still cool, but it's not as cool. I like what happened later on with the Hellcat drivetrain swap. That's cool. But I'm not into the stance now. It's kind of changed the nature of the car. It's not as cool as it used to be. And it's expensive. It's a expensive car now, so when you smash it, it's gonna suck.
Yeah, all of that is not to say we haven't had a great time with it with the Hellcat Power. I mean, we've drag raced it a bunch. We've done amazing burnouts with it. But it is important to note that when I added Mayhem to this top 10 list, I did specify the version number 1. When it had the 440 in it, when it was completely raw, to me, that was the ultimate. What we initially did off-roading the thing was the key. And my favorite clip on that car is, in fact, the very last scene of the very last episode, my favorite episode of Roadkill, when we built the General Mayhem and we took the thing on dirt right here.
Oh, shit, Slim.
Yeah. Man, this is making me sad. This is just the greatest. Look at that thing.
Dude, it's a rad car. Off into the sunset.
That's the shot right there that made me pick this clip. Our longest build of all time.
Is it?
Oh yeah, remember how we would like start working on the thing and then stop and then have to do Hot Rod Magazine, and it literally took 6 months. We took it to Rob Canan's driveway and put ATF all over the thing and then left it at his house for 4 months. It took forever to build that car. But meanwhile, happier memories. What's your favorite clip of the General Mayhem?
Dirtfish.
Well, wait a minute. We took it to Dirtfish twice. Once with the 440 in the Subaru episode, and a second time in episode 74 for the Project Car Shootout.
Yeah, but the second time it had already been lowered and had the drag suspension, and it just wasn't the same car. Like, it also had 700 horsepower, which was virtually uncontrollable the second time there. No, I still maintain the most fun you can have is with a low-powered rear-wheel drive muscle car and put it on gravel. It's amazing.
Yep. Let's check it out. Oh, this is going to be fun.
Oh, this track is so cool.
Whoa! Oh, yeah! Yeah! This might have been our greatest single day ever. Dude, this is good!
Being stuck in gear with second gear was great because you'd lift off the throttle to go into a corner and it immediately dragged the back tires and made the back end slide around corners.
No one does this with 68 Chargers anymore. Oh!
It looks and sounds like we're the Duke boys. This corner was amazing.
Oh, man. That was the pinnacle right there. Can't deny it.
That's as good as it gets. We want to move on to number 4, though?
I don't. I want to watch that 3 or 4 more times. What is the deal with that car right now? I think it's in perfect running and driving condition. You didn't, like, ruin it on some show I don't know about, did you?
No, I wouldn't do that. To that car. All the other ones, yeah, I'm trashing all of them.
Yeah.
I drove it last, I think. It's got a little scuff on the front bumper from a wall that somebody just threw out in the middle of a road.
That was some crazy burnout action with the General Mayhem. Finnegan actually just barely kissed the wall.
There you go, Finnegan. Oh, he hit the wall. So Mike Finnegan, basically in the same spot that Rawlings crunched the wall last year.
Man, thanks for bringing up the whole crashing into the wall thing. I'd nearly forgotten about it. That would be a horrible failure of mine if I didn't remember that one until the end of time. Oh, Finnegan hit the wall in General Mayhem. But yeah, let's hit it. Number 4 on the list. Landing at number 4 is the muscle truck. A 1974 Chevy C10 that I built way back before Roadkill. I got it for $1,500 with a completely restored frame and then ruined it with a bad C-notch job, airbags, my first LS swap with an all-aluminum LS6, Turbo 400, Gear Vendors Overdrive, and a 9-inch from a junk Ford truck. The Muscle Truck's first Roadkill episode was 18, where we rode mini bikes and raced it at an 8th-mile drag strip. But the only thing people remember from that episode is me crashing the mini bike.
This one look good? Oh!
I guess that episode also has Finnegan's famous comment on the truck's killer exhaust note.
Allow me to play for you the music of my people.
In episode 28, I lived a long-held dream of taking off the step side fenders,
She's free.
hacking the front, adding Super Swamper boggers, and going out for some sand dune blasting. The sand was epic, but the next deal proved even more memorable. In episode 36, we towed a boat to a lake, removed the truck's engine, installed it in the boat, went boating for half an hour, and then put the engine back into the truck, towed it home, and executed the ultimate trailer burnout. It also inspired our Mopar muscle truck.
What are you doing here?
Feeding you. And the Ford muscle truck. And of course, we wrapped the whole thing up with some more killer smoke shows from the one that's now known as the OG MT. Yep, the muscle truck lives. I love the muscle truck. I actually think it's our best vehicle in terms of driving anywhere, anytime, cruising it on the highway, being pretty fast at the drag strip, taking it on the sand dunes, and doing epic burnouts. The truck does it all. I love the sound. I love the shifter. I love barking tires in the thing. There's almost nothing bad about it.
Yeah, I gotta agree. It reminds me of the vet cart, but it's better. Like, you can go anywhere, do anything. It's not all that expensive, and it's really good at burnouts.
I mean, it's had a lot of staying power, and honestly, I think it's a truck that's influenced a lot of people to get into the C10 marketplace. It looks so fun to have that thing.
Yeah, for sure, dude. You can't go wrong with a square body.
When I was rewatching these things, I was laughing out loud at this clip of you hacking the fenders on the thing so that we could put big tires on it for the sand.
By here, Freiberger will be in tears. And by here, he'll be throwing tools. And then it's...
Too late now.
You were so bummed out.
Yeah, he's just gonna make a flange and Zeus it right back on. It'll be mint.
The sheer and utter disappointment.
I think we just took about $2,500 off the value of it.
No wonder people watch this stupid show. That was awesome. That scene was hilarious and worth it, as I think we will see in your clip.
The come up from that right there is the hours of fun we had roosting the dunes in that truck. Watch this.
If you both get stuck, you have to get out and run to the top of the hill. Okay?
What? So everybody, you're looking at Fred Williams from Dirt Every Day in the Baja Bug. And me about to destroy him in the muscle truck.
Oh, you're really close. Go muscle truck.
First, second, third, neutral.
Oh, teaching Fred to drive the thing. I remember he was completely flummoxed by the shifter.
As soon as he figures it out, that thing takes off.
Fred's not scared, though. He's getting after it.
Oh, here comes the jump. This was better in my memory than in reality, but check it out. Now watch the truck. That day at Glamis, if you remember, was actually proof of concept. We blasted that thing around, had some great action, and that's when I knew that the Super Swamper boggers actually were going to work in sand to keep this truck moving. That was a riot.
So where is the truck now? Does it even run?
I have no idea where it is. It went to Saudi Arabia for a car show, and I haven't seen it since.
I love it.
So that's the greatest muscle truck ever. I don't know how we can improve from there, but we're going to try as we move on to car number 3.
Number 3 on the list is my beloved Rotson. We originally picked up the 1971 Datsun 240Z from the same guys who sold us the Jaguar, Matt Ringer and Darren Moylan. Remarkably, we are still friends with them, even though the car is broken down on us 97 times.
This car, cursed.
It first let us down in episode 25 when the battery melted onto the header.
That's not safe. Come on, baby. Stay together.
Next, We added a junkyard turbo to the 4.3-liter Chevy V6 and then broke a rear axle at the chassis dyno. We welded the axle back together, but then the car failed us at the autocross anyway. Our love for the Rotson has not diminished even after it overheated at the racetrack. We didn't kick it to the curb when the flywheel nearly fell off. The noise was coming from the flywheel falling off the back of the motor because somebody installed the bolts with zero Loctite.
Attaboy.
Rotson on track.
You have just reached the milestone of 24 seconds of Le Mans. Congratulations.
We even stayed up all night to repair a broken transmission at the 24 Hours of Lemons.
It didn't want to go into third, then it didn't want to go into fourth. You can move the shifter, but that thing's stuck in fifth gear.
No matter what it's done to us, we haven't given up on the car, but we did give up on that crappy 4.3-liter V6.
Okay, let her down.
Most recently, the Rotson gained a 5-liter Ford V8 in the name of reliability. It worked.
Yeah!
But then it started breaking axles again. But the problem with this car is because it has an independent rear suspension and weak axles, I can't hole shot this thing with a lot of horsepower. Otherwise, if the tires grip, it's just going to destroy the stub axles on this thing. We fixed the axles, but then the car failed us anyway when it overheated and stranded us in Las Vegas.
We are now actually overheating. That's 236 degrees and climbing. There's a lot of holes in this car that coolant could go through when this thing finally pops. Still the best day at work ever.
I love the Rotson. It's the only car we have that is on a permanent weight loss program thanks to the rust. We're always breaking it, but it's punctuated by small moments of big speed. And for that, I have an endless affection for this thing. I hope it never goes away.
I don't hate the Rotson as much as you hate the Impala. It has its moments. It has its shining moments for sure. But I don't know why. It's just I'm sick of working on it and having it not be that good. And it is such a pile of garbage. My favorite clip of this thing is like the shining moment of me driving it, which was when we did the Subaru episode and we blasted this thing around that old abandoned neighborhood. And that was a good time. Let's check that out.
3, 2, 1.
Oh, this thing's fast.
See the hatch flying open? Oh, that's before we cut the hood for the 302. The hater pipe! The hater pipe was good. I got to give you that.
The fence shot is money.
That was the shining moment for the Rotson in my eyes. It's gotten faster since then. It has not gotten better since then.
So my moment is less action, but it punctuates what this car really is it brings people together so they can have a group experience in failure and then just have a little bit of moment of goodness, in there.
Kumbaya. Yeah, kumbaya.
Yeah. Watch this.
Go, go, go. Let's do it. Hit it.
We didn't know the crankshaft was broken in half. But we tried really hard to get it started. Lucas is the guy that built the roll cage. He hasn't turned a single lap, but he's suited up in 100-degree heat right now, hoping to drive the car.
Come on. No, do it.
The engine seized.
This is the genesis of Tony Breaks Everything, because he was driving when the crankshaft broke in half.
You're right. Let's do it in first.
So we've been up all night fixing the transmission. We kept moving our goal from do the whole thing to do 24 hours, do 24 minutes, let's just do 24 laps. And this is the moment where we think we've totally failed every goal.
Well, that's because we just totally gave up right here.
But then Jeff comes up with his iPhone, and he's been looking at live timing right from the track.
What am I looking at?
Oh, you're me.
What?
We did 24 laps already.
We did 24 laps?
24 laps already.
Yeah! 24 laps of lemons. Man, that is the key. You know how these days they say, oh, find your own truth? I say, find your own victory, which we just did. What's even the status of that car? Last I remember, we had overheated it to the moon and left it at the side of the road in Las Vegas.
Yeah, it probably needs head gaskets and, a little bit of loving. Another 10 or 20 grand, she's good to go again.
Now, before we go to the very top of the list, into the top 2, I kind of want to go through some of the vehicles that, like, you and I both initially put on our top 10 list, but that didn't make the cut, but that are still pretty great. And I know one of them we both had was the Death Metal Charger.
I love that car. How do you not have fun with a car that a farmer built in the late 60s to go NASCAR racing, and then it gets shoved in a barn for 50 years, and we resurrect it and road trip it? I mean, I love that car. It's the closest I'll get to having a General Mayhem, I think.
The ones that were on my list, which I don't blame you for them not being on yours because they're kind of personal favorites, the Vanishing Paint Challenger, the Crop Duster, the Rampage was on there. I even had Macho Grande, our 73 GMC Suburban that we used to tow Blasphemy up to Oregon, which actually reminds me, what is the worst car that we have intentionally built? I know mine, and I think you're going to agree.
The most belligerent display of our poor engineering skills is probably the Colorado.
The worst.
It's a lot of fab work. It does not work at all. It sucks.
So it's unanimous. The most steaming turd in the history of roadkill is the Colorado pickup truck with the CAD 500 in the back. And now we're moving up to the good stuff. Number 2. Dropping into a solid number 2 is Stubby Bob. Our 1950 Ford F6 dump truck with a supercharged Chevy 454 out back. It started out as a surprise. Finnegan bought the truck for an episode at his place, and I had no idea what it was going to be. But I dug it, and we agreed to shorten the chassis for a cool look. It still had the stock drivetrain in it with a flathead Ford V8 and a non-synchro 4-speed that Finnegan couldn't drive to save his life. Oh! In the first episode, we failed to actually finish the thing, so Bob's first appearance as a finished runner was in episode 50, our Project Car Shootout. Please don't blow up the flathead.
No promises.
It was fun, but uneventful on the autocross. However, it did throw gas everywhere.
Oh, I smell gas. It handles all right.
I saw that. I was kind of
really
surprised. The big deal came in episode 52. We planned to install a blown big block, but it wouldn't fit under the hood, and I had the idea to put it out back. And we are going to put this thing right here and pray for wheelies. Once we had mounted a blown 454, the Gearstar 4L80 transmission, a V-drive stolen from a friend's van, and those zoomy headers, we knew we had created greatness. Check that out.
Oh my God.
See? It's actually...
I feel like when we put the Hemi in the 55, this is that good.
That's the angle the truck would be. Imagine this is the ground, and that's the truck. That's not vertical. That's totally doable, right? At first, we just did some small wheelies for a little distance. But then came Roadkill's greatest moment, when I got out and Finnegan stood that thing up straight onto the rear bumper. We had a wheelie machine. And then came episode 72, one of the most grueling episodes ever, when Mike and Tony Angelo did a bunch of work to the suspension, added a roll bar and even wheelie bars. One of the most heroic parts of the episode to me was when Tony and Mike drove it on the highway all the way north to Eagle Field in California, especially when they had to stop and fix the timing chain at the side of the road. And then the wheelie attempts began.
Oh, no.
And ended.
Oh my God.
At this point, you cannot believe the level of fail.
Come on! What the?
Followed by victory.
We will do wheelies.
We will do wheelies.
followed by devastation,
You gotta be just kidding me.
followed by wind, it's pure classic roadkill. It's that stick-to-itiveness, it's that never say die that absolutely defines who we are and what we do. That moment when we made it wheelie for the very first time, I watched it the other day and it still just gives me chills that we pulled it off.
That's one of the few things we've ever engineered and it delivered. And I didn't think it had a hope of ever delivering a wheelie like that. I really didn't.
I knew it would wheelie. I didn't think it would do what it absolutely did. And so let's just go straight into my clip. I had to pick it. Actually, I'll give that back. You've got the greatest clip ever. Mine's the second greatest clip ever, which is the first time that we did it in the first episode with Stubby Bob doing the wheelie. Here goes. Yeah! That is incredible.
For us, this was like putting a man on the moon, dude.
It was. Yes! Yes!
That's my first ever legit wheelie in my entire life. And when it happened, I wasn't expecting it. And when the trailer hitch hits the ground, it actually threw me forward and my foot came off the gas pedal. And it was like falling out of a 2-story building.
That is just one of the greatest moments of all time in anybody's life. I don't care who you are. Dude, you dragged that hitch so far. Wow. That was amazing. As we remember all these fantastic moments, actually, you know, going through a show like this, I remember why our life is so great. All of the stuff that we've seen over these past 9 cars, we've got it really, really good.
I'm also reminded why I'm sore every morning when I wake up. Stuff like that right there. And this tops that. Wait till you see this next clip of wheeling.
4 wheels up.
Look at that.
All 4 in the back. And it breaks.
It tacoed the front end, dude. Oh my God! I don't want to say it, but apparently, once again, Tony breaks everything. There's a brand new axle we put in there and it just tacoed it.
Yeah, shocker. You put a light-duty thing that wouldn't hold up a Model A. What did you think was going to happen?
What did you do?
I don't think it liked the 2-3 shift. We did some kick-ass wheelies.
Dude, we did.
Oh my God.
We did.
So that right there is clearly one of the top 5 greatest roadkill episodes of all time. I'm not in it. I can still say that. The struggle from you guys actually driving it on the highway up there and then breaking it like what? You broke a yoke, then you broke the drive shaft, and you just kept fighting. You didn't care how much you were killing the crew at all, and you ended up having just glorious wheel stands. I gotta hand you and Tony all the credit for that. It was amazing. However, now that I've praised you, I gotta say, seriously, that front axle was a stupid decision. There's no way it was ever gonna survive, and you ruined the look of the truck with those stupid front wheels.
I mean, I agree with you about the wheels. The wheels were all wrong. The axle, I don't know, is what we could get our hands on, and it was fine until Tony drove it, so.
Yeah, let's blame him. You know what? It's sitting in our warehouse, our new warehouse with like a roof and everything, so engines don't get destroyed anymore. That's where it is.
Oh, all right, well, that's good.
I think if that thing ever comes back, we're both committed to a long travel front end, and the whole goal would have to be figuring out how to make it do wheelies over and over and over and land and not kill you and actually survive with the truck itself.
That'd be cool.
That's probably something that we should do, is actually fix Stubby Bob.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so I built you up, heaping you with praise for that amazing episode. I brought you down by bashing the axle and the wheel, and now I'm going to serve up the ego once again as we move on to car number 1.
The top of the heap, our favorite car on this list is Blasphemy. This blown 528 cubic inch Hemi-powered 55 Chevy Bel Air began life as a beat-up, rusty shell that we bought out of a backyard for $2,300 bucks. Ultimately, we turned this Hulk into a stick-shift, straight-axle, 8-second street car.
Woo! We literally can't go any faster in our class, in our car. Hell yeah, that's amazing.
We've wrenched on this car more than any other in the roadkill fleet and had more success than all of the other roadkill cars combined.
That's a good start. 875 at 159 miles an hour.
Turning the car into a gasser, similar to the 2-lane blacktop movie car, was a dream of mine. And it's been a roller coaster ride ever since the day we hauled the Bear Shell up to Jim Meyer Racing in Oregon and set it onto his tube chassis. The year-long build culminated in a cross-country road trip to Hot Rod Power Tour, and since then, I've continued to refine the combo of parts. Blasphemy has rewarded us with race wins. We beat a Hellcat at Roadkill Takes America. We beat the Hoonigans in an NHRA grudge match for beards. We ran the quickest pass ever in any roadkill car during Hot Rod Drag Week when we went 8:52 in the quarter and won the A-Gas class. As great as Blasphemy has become, it's still definitely a roadkill car because more often than not, it won't leave the starting line due to the broken gas gauge and not enough fuel in the tank.
Okay, Mike, first of all, cheers.
Cheers.
Congratulations on so many roadkills, and of course, for having what I honestly believe is the single best roadkill vehicle ever. So sit back, have a beer, and be heaped with praise while I actually explain why I think this is legitimately the greatest. There you go. So basically, you've done with that car what I never would have, which is the thing of sticking with it year after year. I've always said that nobody can ever have a successful drag racing car by just slamming it together and hitting the track with it. It's always a process, and you've done nothing but make that car better and better and better over the years. And if you look at the first episode with Blasphemy, your goal was 10s. And you showed up at Drag Week, one of the most brutal events anywhere, where you have to drive 1,000 miles, 5 tracks in 5 days, winning your class, running 8:52, and doing it with all the suffering. There is no better complete package or no more awesome car anywhere in the roadkill landscape. So once again, cheers to you. I love the Blasphemy, and I know the whole audience does as well.
Man, thank you. Man.
The point on the pin is when you and Tony won Drag Week with it, and at the end of that episode, when you were realizing it and celebrating it, I picked that as my greatest moment with Blasphemy.
Dude, so did I. So did I.
Done. We got no first gear. You want me first?
That's first.
All right, I got this. It's off.
All right.
All right.
We'll fix it. We'll fix it.
Yep. Very clearly, first gear has exploded and is sitting in the case.
Tony already knew what the inside of that trans looked like. So he was like, we got this. We're going to do this, this, and this, and it'll be fine. And I was like, okay, so we're doing this, this, and this. And dude, it worked. It absolutely worked, you know?
There we go. Now it's in.
All right, hold on. It's going to take 2 of us. I got to get the bearing lined up. And this is going to be difficult because I can't see on the wrong side.
The moment that Tony bench pressed the transmission, I don't think I would have been that guy. I could have gone through everything else, but at that moment, I probably would have been out. And Tony made that happen, so cheers to Tony as well.
You're almost there. Back down a little bit. That's it.
You're an animal, dude. You're an animal.
We don't sell this car at auction. We're going to lose this job.
It's the only roadkill episode I've watched more than once. My kids love that episode. It will sit there and say, I want to watch the Blasphemy race. And we watched it dozens of times, man. And I love hearing you announce, not just Blasphemy, but that whole thing. It was cool for me. It really was.
Finnegan just locked it up. He is your winner for A-Gas at the 15th annual Hot Rod Magazine Drag Week. Tony Angelo on the starting line, losing his mind. Woo!
Holy crap! That was a wheelie! Oh my God! Yeah, that was insane! Are you kidding? Oh my God, I love you right now. Yeah! Did you see that wheelie? It was nuts! Oh my God! What a man! Oh my God, did you see that wheelie? Oh my God. Harmony this. Yeah! It was wild. We won Dragway! Woo! Woo!
So, once again, there you go. Fantastic moment.
Yeah, cheers.
One of the greatest things ever. That's the end of the first stay-at-home episode of Roadkill. Hopefully, we're out of the pandemic and we're making regular episodes again. You want to follow us on social media? It is at Roadkill Show on both Facebook and Instagram. And on Instagram and Facebook, I am at David Freiberger. He is at Finnegan999. So that's it. Cheers from the Roadkill stay-at-home crew. Woo. Stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.
Thanks, everybody.
You know what is glorious, though, is looking at everything that we have done over the past 9 years. I feel so lucky to be able to do what we do for a living, but especially I want to thank all of the crew members who've worked the cameras, the set, behind the scenes. If you think, there's got to be, I don't know, 50 people over the years who have worked on this show, and I appreciate the life that every single one of them has put into everything that you just watched right now. And of course, I have to thank the fans also, because we assemble this junk, but the people who make the cars actually popular and make them live forever are the fans.
This was amazing. Thanks for watching, Roadkill.